Hello students, today we will be discussing another new planning technique which is graph plan planning. We are discussing unit 7 from our syllabus which is on planning and constraint satisfaction. Before this we have discussed goal stack planning technique which was a linear planning technique, and then we saw that there is nonlinear planning technique called as plan space planning that is more flexible. And today we are going to discuss another new completely different planning technique which is called as graph plan planning. In last lecture we have seen how this planning agent can be viewed as a problem solving technique which consists of set of actions for which we have beliefs, that is we call them preconditions, and consequences we call them effects. We have also seen that this block world problem domain can be used for understanding various planning techniques because it captures the various complexities involved in real world planning problems. Then we have also discussed how to represent these plans in your program. So there are plan description languages which are very similar to your prepositional language. There are various variations which are used for representing plans, like your STRIPS language, or ADL, that is action description language, or PDDL, that is planning domain definition language. Then we saw goal stack planning technique. In goal stack planning we saw that it uses a goal stack and actions and corresponding sub goals, they are pushed on the stack. An action is removed from the stack only when its preconditions are satisfied. So it's a linear planning technique where sub-goals are achieved one by one in a specific order. Therefore, we call it linear planning technique. Sometimes it may not be possible for us to work on these sub-goals in specific order. In that particular case, there is a possibility that we may choose a wrong sub-goal. So that may not result in a problem planning solution. Therefore, after that we have discussed another planning technique which is called as plan space planning. Plan space planning works on plan structures. It's a nonlinear planning technique, and then we saw in plan space planning it can modify any part of a plan. Also we have seen it can shift its attention anywhere in between, so that is called as principle of least commitment. Then we saw we refine these partially ordered plans by removing flaws. Flaws are of two types: open preconditions or open goals, or threats. So if we try to satisfy all the preconditions which are not satisfied, so that's how open precondition or open goals problem can be solved. Threats can be solved by incorporating promotion and demotion. Thus we saw that this plan space planning is sound and complete. Now today we are going to discuss a completely different planning technique called as graph plan planning technique. Algorithm graph plan was presented by Blum and Frost from CMU in 1997. It has taken completely different approach if you compare that with our earlier algorithms that we have discussed, that is goal stack planning and plan space planning. In goal stack planning we saw that algorithm searches through the state space, and in plan space planning algorithm searches through the plan space. But out here in graph plan, it first constructs a graph called as planning graph. This planning graph captures all possible solutions and then carries out a search for finding out solution in the planning graph. This algorithm was proposed to work in STRIPS domain. So negative preconditions were not handled. That means action is applicable if all its preconditions are true. But you can use negative preconditions in the form of positive preconditions and then use that in the present form of this graph plan. For example, consider the block world domain. In block world domain, suppose block A is clear and its representation is negative. For example, not there exists y is not on x, this y is not on x, so it's a negative. And if it's a precondition for some action A, then same thing can be represented as a preposition clear, suppose block A or block X. So this is clear A is equivalent to this. So negative you can represent in the form of positive precondition, so that it can work on the original version of this graph plan. This planning graph merges states produced by different actions that are applicable and resulting in a state of prepositions that is expressed as a single layer. So if you compare that with state space, in state space if we have preposition P1, P2, P3 and P4, and suppose there are two actions, action A1 and action A2. So preconditions of A1 are P1, P2, P3 and preconditions of A2 are P2, P3, P4 suppose. So in state space representation or state space approach, this application of A1 will result in another state. For example, that may be P2, P3 or P4, and application of A2 that results in another state. For example, result is P2, P3 and suppose P1. So in graph plan, instead of considering these two states as different states, suppose this is state S1 and this is state S2, it merges these two states in this way. So it prepares union of these two, that is S1 union S2. So that's why we are saying that it constructs a structure which captures all possible solutions. The planning graph, if you visualize, it's a layered graph consisting of two types of layer. First layer is called as prepositional layer, and then that is followed by action layers. So alternative, you will have preposition layer and action layer. This first layer will show all prepositions which are true. Every action has a link from its preconditions and a link to its effectors. As we have seen, every action has set of preconditions and then it has effectors, that means prepositions which are true, and another set, that is prepositions which are false. We call that effect minus. So every action will have a link from its precondition as well as links to its effector. Prepositions at consecutive prepositional levels are linked through no-ops. This no operation copies your preposition from one layer to the another layer. So that makes that preposition available. So it doesn't perform any action. It just carries forward that preposition to the next layer. This is also called as maintenance link or persistent link. So you will find out every two layers here corresponds to a discrete time. That means in between two layers there will not be change in any of the preposition, or system state will not change. Prepositions in one layer that cannot be true simultaneously, as well as action in a layer, particular layer, which cannot be executed simultaneously, they are defined by a binary relation which is called as mutex, which is very similar to that we have seen in process management operating system. So if you have a set of prepositions and if you want only one of that has to be true or one of that has to be executed, then you can define mutex relation between those prepositions. Similarly the case for action. If there are action two actions, action A1 and action A2, only one of that can be executed at a time, then you can define that as a mutex relation. We also introduce edges between actions in given layer and each of its effects in the next layer. Now consider this example of a simple planning graph which is showing alternate preposition layer. This is preposition layer. Then we have action layer. This one is action layer. Then again preposition layer, action layer, preposition layer. In preposition layers we have set of prepositions. In action layer we have set of actions. So alternate preposition and action layers are represented. In action layer we have two types of actions here. One is shown by solid square and another one solid filled square, and another one is shown by empty dotted square. So this empty dotted square that represents the action just now we have seen no-op. That is just that copies the preposition from one level to the next level, which is called as a maintenance link or persistent link or persistent action. It will copy this P4 and it will make available this P4 in the next level. And this is your action which has preconditions P4 and P1. So this action has precondition P4 and P1, and this is the action. Then its effects. After execution of this action, the resultant literal is this one and this one is second, and this third one is shown by a line with dot, rounded filled dot. So this is representing negative edge. So after executing this action, this preposition will be deleted. That's what it represents. And this other lines, solid lines without this dot, they are representing that after executing this action, that will result in this preposition and another preposition this. So this will be true as well as this will be true. And if there is a dot along with a solid line, that means this will be a false after execution of this action. So two types of solid lines we have shown. One is from precondition to the action, so that represents a precondition for that particular action, and another one is from action to the precondition, so that represents effects, that after execution this action, this preposition will be true. And third type of link we have shown, that has a solid black color dot at its end, that is negative link, that represents if you execute that action, then that will delete that particular preposition. Right? So these are empty squares, these are no-op actions, maintenance link or persistent link, that will make all these prepositions, they will be available in the next level. When you will find out or construct a graph, planning graph, then you will find out this actions are ignored. Just simply you can copy this P4 and represent that as a link from P4 to this P4 in the next preposition level by ignoring this, otherwise the graph will become very complex. So this type of actions, that is no-op actions, they will not be specified. Now this planning graph, as we have seen, it's a layered graph consisting of alternate layers of prepositions and actions. Every preposition P belonging to preposition layer Pi, there is a special action called as no-op action, which belongs to AI plus 1. That is, if suppose no-op is from P0, then that will be to A1, and then from A1 to P1. That carries forward that P, preposition P to Pi plus 1. So from P0 it will be carried to P1, that preposition P. So there are four kinds of edges as we have seen. One is called as preposition edge, which we have shown this way. This is a preposition edge. This is from precondition to the action. So preposition A, Pi to Ai plus 1, linking precondition Pi to an action Ai plus 1. So that is represented by solid line, this one. Then we have positive edge from Ai to Pi, linking from an action to add effect of this Ai. That is again represented by solid line. So corresponding to this, we have action edge from this action to this prepositional layer P1. So that represents effect of application of this particular action. So that is your positive edge. Similarly, we have negative edge Ai Pi, that will be from action to preposition, linking an action Ai to delete effect Pi of Ai. So if that action is executed, then it will delete that particular preposition. So effect minus. So solid lines with rounded heads, that represents a negative edge. So this is representing a negative edge. Then we have fourth type of edges. They are called as mutex edges. They link two prepositions or two actions in the same layer, as you can see out here. Now here we have between two actions, this is a dotted line connecting these two actions. Similarly, these two actions are connected by a dotted line. So these are mutex actions. In the same layer, you have connected two actions. So we say that they are mutex actions. Similarly, that is applicable in preposition layers also. You can have two prepositions which are mutex with each other. For example, here I can have these two actions which are mutex with each other, and here these two prepositions which are mutex with each other. Meaning of this is that any one of them can be executed at a time. So these two actions cannot be executed simultaneously. Similarly, prepositions which are mutex, the mutex link say that relation says that those two prepositions cannot be true at the same time. So that's what this mutex edge, that is represented by thick dotted lines. Now let us see how to handle these mutex relations, or how to identify mutex relations in action layer as well as preposition layer. Mutex relation identify pair of actions or prepositions which are in the same layer and which cannot be true at the same time in a plan. Why I am saying in same time? Because each layer represents a discrete time. That means in between those layers, preposition cannot change. So it represents a discrete time. Therefore, at a particular time t, you cannot have, if two actions to be executed at the same time, we will say that two actions are mutex actions. And if two prepositions you cannot execute at the same time, or if they cannot be true at the same time, we will say that they are mutex prepositions. Now we will see how to identify mutex actions and mutex prepositions. First, consider the case of mutex actions. How to identify mutex actions? Suppose we have action A belonging to layer Ai and action B also belonging to same layer Ai. They are mutex if any one of these four conditions hold. Actually these are three conditions, because fourth one is special case of this third one. First situation, if they have competing needs. For example, if there exists a preposition Pa which is a precondition of A. So precondition of A is preposition Pa, and precondition of B is preposition PB. Suppose PB is a preposition which is precondition of B, such that PA and PB are mutex in preceding layers. Suppose that this PA is preposition P and this PB is preposition not P. So both are mutex, both cannot be present at the same time. So therefore we will say that action A and action B are mutex. So we will show them as mutex action. Meaning of that, A and B cannot be executed at the same time, because to execute A you need P and to execute B you need not P. So only one of them will be true at the same time. Therefore they will have competing needs, and therefore you will be executing only one action at a time. So we will show that as a mutex action. Second, if they have inconsistent effects, then we will show that those two actions are mutex actions. What is inconsistent effect? If there exists a preposition P such that this P belongs to effect of A. Suppose we have action A and effect plus of this A is P, and P belongs to effect minus of B. We have another action B, and this, suppose B deletes this P, so it is in effect minus, that means it will delete this P. So A is producing this P and B is deleting this P. So therefore only one action you can execute at a time. So we will show that they have inconsistent effects and A and B are mutex. Third situation, interference of the actions. Meaning of that is, if we have a preposition P which belongs to precondition of A, we will show here, we will take example. Preposition P which belongs to precondition of A and another same preposition P which belongs to effect minus of B, or vice versa, then we say that they are interfering with each other. So we have action A whose precondition is P, and we have another action B which is deleting this P. That means A, to execute A you require this P, this is precondition for A, and if you execute B, that is making this P negative. So whatever A is producing, B is removing that, deleting that. So we say that they are interfering with each other. So therefore we will show that A and B are mutex with each other. Or you can have that precondition of A is suppose not P, and if you execute action B, it is deleting this not P. So whatever is requirement of A, this B is deleting that particular requirement. So we say that they are interfering with each other. So only one can be executed at a time. So therefore we will show that both are mutex. Now fourth situation, when there exists preposition P which is precondition of A, suppose precondition of A is P, and preposition P belongs to effect minus of A, and this A deletes this P, and also we have preposition P which belongs to precondition of B. P also belongs to precondition of B, and this P belongs to effect minus of B. That means what? Input to this requirement of this A is P and it is deleting this P. That means it is consuming this preposition, and both of this action they are doing the same thing. That means they are mutex. Only one has to be executed at the same time, right? So these are the four situations. So you will find out this fourth one is special case of this third one. interference case. So these are actually three situations, mainly three situations. If you find out this, then you make those two actions, corresponding actions, as mutex. Similarly, now you can identify mutex prepositions. Two prepositions are mutex if corresponding actions are mutex. So corresponding actions to those prepositions are mutex. For example, suppose we have preposition P. This belongs to action layer AI, and another preposition Q which also belongs to this action layer AI, and corresponding actions are A and B, and if this A and B are mutex, then these two prepositions will be mutex. Actually I should have done this way. Then if these two actions are mutex, then these two prepositions will be mutex. So if you observe this, you will find that two prepositions, if they are not mutex in preceding layer, they will not be mutex in then other layers after this layer, because of that persistent link or no-op operation, no-op action. So this is how we will assign mutex relation with prepositions and actions. Now building a complete planning graph. A graph is extended by creating ith action layer and ith preposition layer. It begins by copying the two preceding layers and then adds a new applicable actions and effects and links to the preconditions and effects, so that forms that particular level in the graph. After adding all actions and their effects, it computes afresh the mutex relation for the new action and preposition layer. So that's how we are going to extend that planning graph. We will keep on adding prepositions and actions and appropriately defining mutex relations among those actions and prepositions. Now how much you should extend? The process of extending this graph continues till any one of the following two conditions is achieved. First condition is the newest preposition layer contains all goal prepositions and there is no mutex relation between any of the goal prepositions. This is important. So if the final preposition layer, new preposition layer that you have created, that contain all your goal prepositions, and if they are not mutex, that means now you should stop. Second situation, if the planning graph is leveled off. Now what is meaning of leveling off? That means for two consecutive levels, if your pi minus 1 is equal to pi, that means preceding preposition layer same as that of new preposition layer, and the mutex relations are same. Mutex relations in pi layer is same as that of mutex relations in the new preposition layer. If this is the case, we say that planning graph is leveled off. So these are the two conditions when you should stop extending your planning graph. Now we will see how this graph plan algorithm in general works. So it's very similar to, you will find out, iterative deepening depth first search. A plan of depth k will have k time steps, may have multiple parallel actions per time steps, right? First step is make a planning graph of depth k, and every time you will have to search for a solution. When you will get a solution, if one of this condition is satisfied, that means if you have all goal prepositions in the preposition layer and they are non-mutex, or if both the preposition layers are same and mutex relations are also same. If you succeed, then return the plan, otherwise extend your graph. Extend graph procedure just now we have seen, from k to k plus 1. Repeat this, go to step 1 again. So if you have graph k, check do you have a solution. If yes, stop, otherwise extend it to the k plus 1. Depth, increase its depth. So always you will find out this algorithm will return you the optimal path, optimal solution, optimal plan, that is. So let us see how to extract plan from the planning graph. Now, right now you might have observed that the algorithm works in two stages. In first stage, which we have discussed just now, we generate the planning graph of depth k, and in second stage you are going to extract plan from that planning graph. You have terminated that planning graph construction process by incorporating this one of the two conditions, that is if you reach to the goal prepositions and if they are not mutex, or if planning graph is leveled off, then we terminate the planning graph construction process. Now once it is done, then you can extract its solution by using Boolean CSP, that is constant satisfaction procedure, for solving the problem. That means you perform a reverse depth first search algorithm, that is backward depth first search. When all the goal prepositions exist in the layer are non-mutex, as we have seen, then perform depth first search, which regresses the goal sets to the sub-goal sets, like backward state space search. Only keep in mind, except that only relevant actions are considered that are in the planning graph. So you start with the goal set and then you go backward in depth first search manner. So you will encounter some of the actions in that until you reach to the P0, that is first prepositional layer. So whatever actions you have encountered on the way, that will be a corresponding plan. This I will illustrate you with the example. You will understand it much better after we will solve an example on this. This backward search call can terminate either by reaching to the level P0. So that means you have got the result success. So return that plan. Otherwise it may result in failure. That means no plan exists. Otherwise extend the graph to level k plus 1 from level k. So that's how now we have seen how to construct a planning graph and how to extract solution from the planning graph. Now we will take two examples and understand how this procedure actually works. So we will now discuss two illustrative examples. Now in this first example, we will see how to prepare a planning graph. Simple example where the problem is have cake and eat cake too. We have given initial state consisting of preposition have cake, and the goal to be achieved is have cake and eaten cake. Two actions are given, eat cake and bake cake. In eat cake, precondition is have cake, and for bake cake, precondition is not have cake. Effect for eat cake is not have cake and eaten cake, and for bake cake, effect is have cake. So in eat cake, if have cake is true, then effect will be cake will be eaten and you will not have cake. In bake cake, if you do not have cake, then effect will be you will have cake. So we will have to prepare planning graph for this particular problem. We have seen to prepare a planning graph, we have alternate layers for prepositions and actions. So initial preposition layer is P0, then we have action layer. So suppose A is your action layer, so then we will have action layer A1, then again we will have effects of this A1 in preposition layer P1, and along with that you can add more prepositions also in this P1. So let us start with this first layer P0. In P0 we have initial predicates which are true. So we have given have cake, so we will have this have cake in this P0, and along with this you will have to see is there any other preposition which is true initially. So you can introduce that preposition also. So have cake is already you have represented, and eaten cake will be true, that is the goal. Have cake and eaten cake will be true, have cake and eaten cake. So you can represent not eaten cake in this P0, because initially we know that cake is not eaten, so not eaten cake you can have in this P0. Cake, and along with this you will have here have cake in P0. So these two prepositions are true initially. So in P0, in first step you will be introducing this. So your first step will look like this. After preparing this planning graph will be like this. So here we have introduced P0. In P0 you have cake, first preposition, which is true. That is the initial state which is given out here, right? And then we have cake is not eaten, that is also true. Now why this has been introduced? Because later on that state is required. So if you have closed word assumption, where the prepositions which are not mentioned, they are assumed to be false. So if you use closed word assumption, then in that case you can introduce this not eaten cake. Now since you have negative prepositions also in your planning graph, so you need not have to represent that negative edge that we have seen earlier, that we have solid line with solid circle along with that. So that we use for representing a negative edge. Now there are two ways: either you can have such negative edge in your representation, or you can have negative prepositions. So that's how. Now this is the first part that you will be doing. After that, now you will have to find out action which can be used with this in this situation. That means find out action for which we have cake precondition or not eaten cake precondition. So if you go back, you will find out not eaten cake precondition we don't have, but have cake is the precondition for eat cake action. So I will introduce this eat cake action, and effects are not have cake and eaten cake. So I will introduce in this action layer action eat cake, because eat cake precondition is have cake. So here you can introduce a positive link. So precondition for eat cake is have cake, and its effect is not have cake and eaten cake. So you will have to here introduce positive edges from A1 to P1. So here you can have not have cake, and this not eaten cake is already there. So here you will be introducing a persistent link. So this you will be carrying as it is, not eaten cake. So this preposition not eaten cake will be carried. This is called as maintenance link or persistent link, and you will have now available this eaten cake. Now another effect of this is eaten cake. So therefore here you will have another preposition in P1, that is eaten cake. So there will be a link, positive link from eat cake to eaten cake. So effect is have cake, action is eat cake, effects are not have cake and eaten cake. So this is how now we have completed this first layer, where we have initial prepositions, corresponding actions which you can perform with those initial prepositions, and their effects. Along with this, if you want to introduce another preposition, that you are introducing this layer P1. So after doing this, your graph will look like this. right? Then we have introduced here this eaten cake persistent link, not eaten cake, and along with this now you can have this have cake preposition as it is by introducing here persistent link. So this have cake is also available in preposition layer P1. So that's what we have done. So have cake again we have introduced along with this. So now we have cake available in P1, not have cake, eaten cake and not eaten cake. So add all applicable actions that we have done and all effects to the next state. Now next step after this is, now you identify actions which can be applied along with these preconditions or prepositions available in P1. So if you go to the actions, you will find out eat cake precondition is have cake, so that also you can introduce, and along with we have this bake cake for which precondition is not have cake, so that also you can introduce in the next state. So we'll do that. So here we'll have eat cake again in action layer A2. Here we will have eat cake, and bake cake also. For bake cake corresponding precondition is not have cake. For bake cake precondition is not have cake. So both are available. So here you can add now links. I will show that with this red. Now for eat cake the precondition is have cake, so positive link you are going to add. Then for bake cake precondition is not have cake, right? Let us check it again. Bake cake precondition is not have cake. Now you will be adding persistent link also, so that this prepositions will be available afterwards also. So we will have this not eaten cake available and eaten cake also available afterwards, not have cake. Not have cake also you are going to extend. So effect of this eat cake will be not have cake and eaten cake. So you will be adding now preposition there, and then you will have effect links from A2 to that P2, and then your graph will look like this. Here you have introduced eat cake. For eat cake precondition is have cake, so here I will introduce eat cake as we have done, and then bake cake. For eat cake precondition is have cake. For bake cake precondition is not have cake, right? Okay. Then for eat cake effect is not have cake and eaten cake, not have cake. So this one, this link, persistent link, no up link, you are going to here introduce. So here you will have not have cake, and then another effect of this eat cake is eaten cake. So add another link to the eaten cake. So eaten cake will be available here with no up or persistent link, maintenance link. So effect of this is to eaten cake also. Okay. Now for bake cake precondition was not have cake, and effect will be have cake. Effect is have cake. So you are adding a link. You will be adding out here a link to have cake here. So have cake will be available with no op or maintenance link again out here. So this will be your now A2, and then here you will be writing all those 4 prepositions, and that will be your preposition layer P2. So it will look like this. Now you will have bake cake. Precondition is not have cake, and its effect is have cake. For eat cake, precondition is have cake, and effect is not have cake and eaten cake. All these 4 prepositions with no op link are available in P2. So this is second layer that we have introduced, and here this dotted rectangles, they are showing no op action. So later on you can ignore this rectangle. You can just draw a line from preposition layer to next preposition layer. Now we have 2 layers. Next step is you identify mutex relations. So there are 3 types of mutex relations that we have seen. Competing needs. So we'll identify now actions which have competing needs. So what is competing need? That means if there is action A, I will write here, if there is action A and another action B, precondition of this A is suppose P and precondition of B is not P. So A requires P and B requires not P. So need of A is P, need of B is not P. So they are competing with each other in terms of their preconditions. So therefore we say that they have competing needs. If this is the case, you can either execute A, either P will be available or it will not be available at that time. So either you can execute A or execute B. So A and B will be mutex in that case. So we will draw a dotted line which will say that A and B are mutex actions. So here you will see that for cake, eat cake, precondition is have cake, and for this no op action, precondition is have cake. So they do not have competing needs. So you identify 2 actions in such a way that they have competing needs. For example, now bake cake has precondition not have cake and eat cake has precondition have cake. So bake cake requires negation of have cake, eat cake requires have cake. So they have now competing needs. So you can introduce here a mutex link between these 2. Either you can have bake cake here or you can have not cake, right? Now these 2 actions, persistent actions or no op actions, their preconditions are mutex, like eaten cake and not eaten cake. So they also have competing need. Similarly, these 2 persistent actions, have cake, not have cake, no op. So here also you can introduce a mutex link. So have cake and not have cake, these 2 persistent actions, they also have competing needs along with bake cake and eat cake. Similarly, eaten cake and not eaten cake. So these competing needs, mutex links we have shown in action layer. Next type of mutex link in action layer, that is your inconsistent effects. Now what is inconsistent effect? We will see. Inconsistent effect says that if one action, for example, negates another. For example, if you have action A and another action B, and if A's effect is P and B's effect is not P. So this action A has effect P and action B has effect not P. So one action is negating effect of another. So if this is the case, we say that it is inconsistent effect. So both actions cannot be executed at the same time. So they are mutex. So let us check it out. Now here, eat cake has effect not have cake, and this persistent action have cake has effect have cake. So both are mutex. Therefore you can introduce here a link, mutex link between have cake and eat cake, because this is have cake and that is effect of this eat cake is not have cake. One action can be executed at a time. Similarly, identify other actions. Here also, eat cake has effect eaten cake, and this persistent action not eaten cake has effect not eaten cake. So this is also inconsistent effect. So add a mutex link. Come out here. Here also now all these persistent actions have cake and not have cake, they will have mutex link. Similarly, eaten cake and not eaten cake, inconsistent effect, so they will have mutex link. Check out bake cake as have cake and eat cake as not have cake. These two, they also have actions, mutex relationship between them. Either of this has to be executed, because if you execute bake cake, effect is have cake, and if at the same time if you try to execute eat cake, effect is not have cake. So one action is negating effect of another action. That cannot be done at the same time, because these are discrete time layers. So everything that is in first layer, that will change only in second layer. So therefore either of this action can be executed at a time. So inconsistent link, that is second type of mutex link that we have added. Now third type of mutex links are interference. So what is interference? If one of the effect of one action is negation of precondition of another action. For example, if you have action A and its effect is not P, and another action B whose effect is precondition is P, that is one effect of action, one of the effect of action, that is action A's effect is not P, is negation of precondition of another. So B requires P and A's effect is not P. So whatever precondition for B is, A is, if you execute A will negate that. So therefore A and B cannot be executed here at the same time. You so identify such a situation where you have action A whose effect is not P and another action B whose precondition requires P. So we have here eat cake whose effect is not have cake. So identify another action whose precondition is have cake. So this one, eat cake and this persistent not have cake. Eat cake effect is not have cake and this have cake precondition is have cake. So these two, they are mutex with each other. Now not eaten cake is the effect of this persistent action. Find out any other action for which eaten cake is a precondition. So this action, eaten cake, of course. So both are interfering with each other. We say that one action is interfering with another. So of course eaten cake and not eaten cake cannot be true at the same time. Similarly out here, effect is not have cake and here precondition is have cake. Here also you will have mutex link because they both actions are interfering with each other. Out here, the effect of eat cake is not have cake, and have cake precondition is have cake. So already we have added here mutex link. So by this interference also there will be a mutex link. So only one link will be there, right? So in this way, third type of mutex links you will be adding in your representation. So your graph will look like this. Planning graph is now, we have added here mutex link, this one in action layer. So three types of mutex links in action layer you will have to identify: inconsistent effect, competing needs, and interference. Now in addition to this, in preposition layer, if we have mutex prepositions, that is one is true and at the same time it is false, so you will have to add mutex link in between them. That means have and not have cannot be true at the same time. So here you have added this mutex link in preposition layer. Similarly out here also. Then eaten cake and not eaten cake, both prepositions cannot be true at the same time, so you have added these two, right? So this is one situation. So have cake, not have cake, already we have added. Then there is a second possibility that you will be adding preposition link, that is if corresponding actions are mutex. For example, bake cake and eat cake, they are mutex with each other. So corresponding prepositions, literals in preposition layer, they will be mutex. For example, out here, bake cake and eat cake, they are mutex, so their effects have cake and eaten cake, both are mutex. That is not shown here, but both are mutex. Similarly, eat cake and this persistent actions, both are mutex, so their effects, prepositions will be mutex, that already shown. Come out here, effect of this have cake is have cake and eat cake is here eaten cake, one of the, and both are mutex, so therefore you have added this mutex link between these two prepositions, right? Similarly, these two are mutex, so their effects are mutex, so therefore here you have shown mutex link between these two prepositions. So in this way you will have to add mutex links between the prepositions also. So for adding mutex link in actions, there are three different types of mutex relations you have to identify: inconsistent need, competing need, inconsistent effect, not need, inconsistent effect, competing needs, and interference. For literals, if corresponding actions are mutex, then their effects will be mutex in preposition, and two prepositions, if one is negating another, then they are also mutex. So in this way you will have to repeat this process of adding layers in the graph and adding mutex relations until the graph levels off. Graph levels off means if corresponding preposition layer is same as that of previous one, as that of in this case, for example out here we have, and same set of mutex links, have cake, not have cake, eaten cake, not eaten cake. Out here also we have cake, not have cake, eaten cake, and not eaten cake. So therefore you will be repeating this process until the graph levels off, and then after that next step will be your second stage in graph plan algorithm, that is extracting solution from the graph. So this is incomplete problem. We need more complex situation. So we will discuss now second example. In this spare tire problem, we have a problem of changing the flat tire. So initial state given is flat tire is on axle of your car and good tire is in the trunk. Flat tire means puncture. Tire is puncture and you have to replace it. Means robot will do that. Goal state is you will have this good spare tire properly mounted on your car's axle. So how to prepare a plan for this? So we'll use GraphLan for performing this task. So there are two stages. First stage is you prepare a planning graph, and second stage will be extract a plan from that planning graph. So first we will perform first step, that is we will prepare a planning graph. But for preparing planning graph you should have description in planning language. So ADL description is given to us. This is given that initial state is that flat tire is at axle and second preposition spare tire is at trunk. Goal state that has to be achieved is spare tire will be at axle. Right? There are four actions which are given. First is remove spare tire from trunk. Second action is remove flat tire from axle. Third action is put on spare tire on axle. And fourth action is leave it overnight. For first action, that is removing spare tire from trunk, precondition is spare tire should be at trunk, and effect is spare tire will not be at trunk and spare tire will be at ground. For second action, where you are removing flat tire from axle, precondition is flat tire should be at axle and its effect is flat tire will be at ground and flat tire will not be at axle. Similarly, for third action, that is put on spare tire on axle, car's axle, so that means fixing your puncture tire, that you will have good tire on your car axle. Precondition is flat tire should be at axle and its effect is spare tire will be at axle, that means good tire with your axle, and spare tire will not be at ground. Leave overnight action doesn't require any precondition. Effects are spare tire is not at ground, spare tire is not at axle, spare tire is not at trunk, flat tire is not at ground, and flat tire is not at axle. So that is your leave overnight action. So now our first stage is you will prepare a planning graph. To prepare a planning graph, you need to first work on first layer, which will consist of preposition layer P0, which will have initial prepositions which are true. Then we will add corresponding actions which can be executed in the current situation. Then we will have another preposition layer P1, where we will have effects of actions we have added in this A1 action layer. So we are going to start with P0. In P0 we will have prepositions which are true. So what is true initially? This first preposition, that flat tire is at axle. Second one, spare tire is at trunk. And third one is spare tire is not at axle, not of this. So these three are true, that is given. Along with this you have to find out, because closed world assumption says that which is not given, assume that that is false. So some other prepositions you may need later on. So you will find out that along with this you will have preposition that in the current situation which is not true, that will be flat tire is not at ground and spare tire is not at ground. This two. Right now we know that initially flat tire is not at ground, flat tire is at axle, so therefore it is not at ground. And we have introduced this another preposition, that is spare tire is not at ground, because spare tire is where? Spare tire is at trunk. So therefore this is also true. And since your goal is spare tire is at axle, we know that spare tire is at trunk. So this is also true. And these two are already given. These are true. So this is how we have prepared now P0. Right? Which is your initial problem state. Now we will identify actions. We have to work on A1. Actions which can be performed with this initial state. So let us go to the action. Remove spare tire from trunk. That can be done because spare tire is at trunk. That is satisfied. That is given. Spare tire is at trunk, and which is the precondition for removing spare tire at trunk. So we have introduced this action. Similarly, remove flat tire from action. That has been added because precondition for this action is remove flat tire from axle. Flat tire is at axle, and which is true now. Flat tire is at axle, that is true. So therefore this also can be executed. Similarly, leave overnight, we know that it does not have any precondition, so that also can be introduced out here. Along with this, we have added no-op actions. All these prepositions will be available afterwards. So all these no-ops have been added. Right? Now effects. If you remove spare tire from action, from trunk, the effect is spare tire will not be at trunk and spare tire will be at ground. So you will have to add those two effect links. So that we have done. Spare tire is not at trunk, and this one, spare tire will be at ground. So this two effect links we have added. In this way you add effect links for this remove flat tire from axle. So these two we have added. Flat tire will not be axle in that case, right? And flat tire will be at ground then. So this one is also link has been added. Then leave overnight, all those effect links have been added. So this has completed your layer 1, which consists of preposition layer P0, where we have all prepositions which are true initially. Then add corresponding actions which can be executed with this current prepositions, and add their effect links. Added persistent actions, no-op operations. What is the next step now? Next step is you will have to identify mutex links that you can do, and there are 3 types of mutex that you can identify in action layer. That is, if you have competing needs, or if we have one action is interfering another action, and third possibility is if they have inconsistent effects. So we will add those now. Mutex links. The first one is if they have competing needs. That means if one action requires preposition P as its precondition and another action requires preposition not P as its precondition. Find out, is there any case like this? These two actions, now it requires spare at trunk. Find out whether this second one requires not spare at trunk. No. Okay. So competing needs right now is not there. Then you find out, do they have inconsistent effects? That means inconsistent effect means action A has effect P and action B is negating that effect, something like this. So these two, spare is at trunk and spare is not at trunk, these two actions. So here you will have mutex link. Similarly, flat at axle, flat not at axle, here also you will have mutex link. Then we have flat at ground, not flat at ground. Identify, do they correspond to two different actions, flat at ground and flat at not ground. Here you can check out flat at ground. Here we have, and flat at not ground. No, it is not there. Then you find out corresponding prepositions also. Now P and not P cannot be true, because this layer they represent discrete time, so this has to be executed in one time stamp. So this 2 will be mutex, this 2 will be mutex prepositions, again this 2, right? So in this way you will be adding mutex links. Not all links have been added, we will do that. Then next step is you will have to identify now another set of actions which you can perform on this available set of prepositions in P1 and add their effects. So that will be your layer 2. So we have now looking for mutex relations. So this relation also has been added. Remove spare from trunk and leave overnight. Now remove spare from trunk is effect is spare is not at trunk, right? And one another effect is spare is at ground, spare tire is at ground, and for this leave overnight, spare tire is not at ground, right? So this is inconsistent effect, so therefore we have added this mutex link, inconsistent effect. Similarly this already we have done. For this also remove flat tire from axle and leave overnight. Here for removing flat tire at axle, one of the effect is flat is at ground, and for leave overnight flat is not at ground. That is one of the effect. So therefore they have inconsistent effect, so therefore this mutex link has been added out. So this is what you have to complete, this step, that you have to identify mutex links and add them. So these two already we have added. Then next step is layer 2. Add layer 2 by identifying set of actions in A2 and add their effects. So here we have done that. A2 has been added, so we have added action remove spare from trunk, that can be performed here. Then remove flat from axle, leave overnight, it was already there. Now this we have added in addition to that, put on spare on axle. So this will fix your good tire on the axle, spare tire on the axle. So we have added their positive links, effects. So your diagram will look like this. Now persistent links have been, no operations have been added here. Now you complete this by adding their mutex links. So here you have to add all mutex relations among the actions. For example, flat at axle and flat not at axle cannot be true at the same time. So these two are mutex relations, actions. Similarly, spare at axle, not spare at axle, both these actions, these two actions, all these are mutex actions. Spare at trunk, not spare at trunk. So this again mutex link, right? So inconsistent effect. Find out, do they have competing needs? That means flat at axle and not flat at axle. That is the precondition for both the actions. Yes, remove flat axle, precondition is flat at axle, and for put on spare axle, precondition is flat should not be at axle. So these two cannot be performed at the same time, so you will have to add here mutex link between these two. Similarly, you identify other two. This one is also the case. for this action precondition is pair is at trunk. Now pair is not at trunk, so there will be a mutex link between these two. So in this way you add all those mutex links, your graph will look like this. So we added all those mutex links. Similarly, here remove pair from trunk and put on pair on axle. Both are mutex because one has effect sphere is not at ground and another one has effect sphere is at ground. So therefore this link has been added. So in this way you have added all the effect links, mutex links, and then you will find out that your P1 is equal to P2 and this graph has leveled off, and goal states, your goal state is, you check goal state that pair is at axle, so they do not have mutex relation between pair is at axle and another goal preposition because there is only one goal preposition. So this is the first part. You have prepared the planning graph and which is leveled off. Now second step is you have to extract solution from this graph. To extract solution from the graph, you are going to start with your goal state, that is pair is at axle, and then you will go backward by using backward depth first search. Then that will reach to put on pair on axle. So this action has been identified. Then you are going to backward to the prepositions where it has reached. Then again you will go backward to the corresponding actions from the corresponding prepositions in this way. So that I have shown in the next slide. So therefore now that will correspond to these two actions, that is remove sphere from trunk and remove flat from axle. And then you can have, this is the initial state, that sphere is at trunk and flat is at axle. So therefore this process has been completed and therefore you have extracted the plan. Now your plan is remove sphere from the trunk, then perform flat at axle, remove flat from axle, this action, then perform this third action, that is put on sphere on axle. So your solution is you remove this first action, that is remove sphere from trunk, then perform again remove flat from axle, and then perform third action, that is put on sphere on axle. So this is the plan this graph plan algorithm has written. Extract solution stage of graph plan algorithm has written this particular plan. Now you have to make sure that there are no mutex relation between the corresponding actions and prepositions. So that is true, so therefore this is the required plan. Now let us summarize what we have discussed today. You will find out number of prepositions they increase as you proceed in the proceeding layers, as you will find out here. Number of prepositions are less, then in P0 they have increased. As you go on adding layers, number of prepositions they increase. Number of actions also monotonically increase, because as prepositions increase you find out corresponding action that can be applied on the in the given situation. But preposition mutex, as you go forward they monotonically decrease as you go to the next layers. Similarly the case for action mutex relationships also monotonically decrease. Planning graph levels off after some k all levels are identical. That means if pi is equal to pi minus 1, then we say that graph is leveled off, because it's a finite space. The set of literals never decrease. mutexes don't reappear. That is the reason why this planning graph levels off. So this planning graph algorithm or Graphlan algorithm specifically, that is complete. Therefore, Graphlan algorithm also returns the optimal plan. The reason behind this is it functions like your DFID algorithm. You start with level some k, then you check whether you are getting the solution. If no, then you go on adding one layer after that, then second layer, and you repeat this until it fails or you get a solution. So whatever solution you get, that will be the shortest solution. So therefore we say that it returns the optimal plan.